Growing up, my relationship with my dad was actually great. There was nothing that I could complain about. We were told from our dad, me and my brother, that my brother was going to sleep in one bed and me and my dad was going to sleep in one, which at that time, me being daddy's girl, and this is my superhero, I didn't think nothing of it. We went to bed. I remember trying to get up to go use the bathroom, and my dad's arm was around my waist. He wasn't letting me go. So I finally did get to wiggle out and go to the bathroom. Nothing happened that night. The very next night, we were sleeping together again, and the same thing happened to where I needed to get up to use the bathroom. And this time it was more like he wouldn't let me go. He had his arm around my waist again, of course. At this time though, he kind of moved his arm away from my waist and down to my, there was so many different thoughts that ran through my mind. I was confused, I was hurt, I was sad. The next morning when I knew that it was gonna be, I had already thought in my head, like, later on tonight, I don't want to sleep with him. I want to sleep with my brother. Maybe my brother can switch me spots or something like that, in hopes that my dad wouldn't say anything about it. I went and slept with my brother. I laid there for a while. I got a little comfortable and I fell asleep. I just remember getting woke up by my father and telling me that I needed to get back in the bed with him. So at that moment, just knowing what had happened, knowing you had touched me in a most inappropriate way, I was just like, in my mind, I felt like I couldn't say it out loud to him. I followed what I was supposed to do, followed the directions. So I went back and slept with him. I dozed off. I finally went to sleep, and I felt touching again on my stomach. I'm confused. I'm 11. I thought that I had to listen to everything that I was told to listen to. I remember just kind of sitting there and closing my eyes and letting it happen. I remember getting up, leaving out the door real quietly so that he wouldn't hear, or I wouldn't wake my brother up at that time. So I went to the girls' bathroom and I just sat there and I cried. And I remember just taking a shower. And I sat in the shower for a long time and I just cried. I heard somebody come in there and I got out, I dried myself off. I had my clothes with me too. My brother asked me, like, sister, are you okay? And I'm just steady telling him, like, yeah. And I looked down because I was crying so much, my eyes was red. So I didn't want nobody to see my eyes being red or ask me what was going on, because I felt like I could not talk. I could not tell anybody. He knew something was wrong because that wasn't my personality. I'm not like that. The touching, the happened for a couple more weeks up until we left the shelter. So I felt happy. I felt relieved. I felt like everything was going to be okay at this point. At this moment, we were living in an apartment. It was a 2-bedroom. One of the bedrooms was, of course, for my stepmom and my dad. The other bedroom was for the boys, and it was 3 boys and it was 2 girls. So the 2 girls were sleeping in the living room where the couch was. That was the normal thing for us. We didn't think nothing of it. I felt like I could just go to sleep, nothing to worry about it. I was okay. I did my normal thing. My normal routine was to go back to sleep. But I remember feeling someone sitting at where my feet were. I turned to look and it was pitch black, but of course I knew it was him. It got more intense, as the time went on. I would try to cry as quiet as I could because I didn't want my family to know what was going on. I did not want anybody to know what was going on. I didn't feel like I wanted to break the family up. I felt like everything at that point was my fault. So it would happen to me every single day. I would dream about it even on the days that it wasn't happening. Became more aggressive. Would try to pull, my pants down to actually have with me. Me being scared, me still being confused, me not want to break my family up, or me not want to tell anybody. It was kind of like I had to be obedient all this time. I did not know how to tell anyone. Did I want to tell? Very badly. We went to my grandmother's house. It was a room, again, that we were in. It was me and him that was in this room. He would he would probably my hair. I got so used to it as the years went on. I was traumatized. I was quiet. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And my dad was this type of person where everybody loved him. Didn't know what he was doing in the dark, but they loved him. He was a very funny person. He was also an energetic person too. So you would never think in a million years that this is something that he will be doing. And I just used to sit in the background like, I just don't know what he's doing. He's doing something horrible to me. You guys just do not even understand. The more it would happen to me, the more quiet I would get. So the love for him turned into hate. I hated him. Anything like my brothers and sisters, again, they didn't know what happened. He used to laugh and joke with us all the time. He used to tickle us all the time. We used to have little family movie sessions and joking, and he used to tell us all these stories and we would laugh. The more that it happened, the more I got quiet. I would never laugh at anything he said. One day in the house with my family, I finally told my brother and sister what happened. And they were like, "What you mean touching?" I'm like, "Touching me in the wrong way." I would go into detail about what he was doing. And the whole room, I remember the whole room getting quiet and mouths were dropped like, "Daddy? Like, are you sure?" Yes, yes, he is. And that's why I hate him. And at this moment, I told them not to tell anybody because I felt at the moment, at that time, if I could tell, y'all could probably start telling who I need to tell to get me out of this situation. So it would continue to happen to me to where I started to threaten him how I was going to tell. I remember him putting on clothes all the time, even in the summertime. He would put on jogging pants, he would put on t-shirts and put on long sleeve thermals under it. And I remember him telling me why he was doing that. He said, "You said you was going to tell on me. And I know if you tell on me, I'm going to go to jail." He said it was going to be cold in the jail. So he was preparing himself to go to jail. One day, I told him, I said, "If you let me go, get out of this house and go with my mom, I won't tell." And he told me, "You can go over there. I'm going to go ahead and let you go." Because I think at this moment he got more scared. But before he let me go, I called my mom. I told myself that I was going to tell her. I said, "Mama, can I come and live with you?" I told her on the phone, like, "He's touching me. He's doing something to me." And at that very moment, I was like, it's over. Me telling my mom, you would just think that I'm about to go get my daughter, because what do you mean this is happening? This has been happening all this time. I'm about to go get her. It didn't happen. She didn't even come and get me right away. I was just so lost all the way around the board. Like, what is going on? So when I finally did get picked up and go over there, it's like my life got turned around. No, I wasn't getting no more because, of course, he wasn't around. But I would still have dreams about it. I was still super traumatized about it. I started to become this super rebellious to where I wasn't even going to school anymore. I started disrespecting her. I was stuff from stores, clothes and shoes. I was so messed up in the head. The police still wasn't called. Like, nobody called the police. I'm sure that my mom was telling people in the family. The police was not getting called at all. So he would still come around. I don't know what happened to my brain, but it was like I wanted to go back to the days it used to be where I did love my dad before this happened. So I tried to blank everything that did happen to me from him out of my mind. I started to build this relationship again with him. When he did used to come around, I started to talk to him again. As I grew a little older, I knew that it wasn't the right thing. So I started to be real, standoffish with him at this moment. It's still, like I said, the police still wasn't called. The police still was not called at all until like maybe a year or two after me moving out of the house. I was so rebellious as a child. I got pregnant at 15 by somebody that was 3 years older than me. He was a grown already. He was 18, not that much older than me. But I got pregnant at 15 years old. I had a but I was with somebody I had moved out from with my mom at 15 years old and lived with the person that had got me pregnant. So I can tell you right now today that I'm in a better place. Definitely. I still feel like I'm super traumatized. I wrote a book about it. Like, I got a book right now today about going into detail about what happened to me from 11 to 14. I'm so much in a better place right now to where now I feel like the cherry on the top for me will be to go visit him face to face. He's been locked up since 2007, I want to say. So I'm going to go visit him face to face. I feel like that is going to be the cherry on the top for me. I feel like I'm a very successful person now. I'm a mother of 3 kids that's doing very good by my kids. Like I said, I still feel like I do still have them times where I cry and I still think about it. Not as much. Even writing the story, I feel like writing the story was healing for me. It kind of mended a lot of what I was going through. But the reason for me wanting to go visit is just to kind of put the cherry on the top of everything. Just kind of let everything be what it is and just finally just heal from it. I feel like this is going to be the end of my healing journey. So me releasing this and letting everybody know what happened and telling the world what happened to me, it definitely made a difference. So life for me right now is a lot better. I talk to my children all the time about, if anything, I don't want you guys to feel like you do not ever have to hide anything from me. You guys can tell me whatever, feel comfortable with telling me anything that you want to tell me. Because of, what happened to me, I just feel like I have to be more on it. Life for me right now, it's a whole lot better. I definitely feel a whole lot better. I still tend sometimes to go back. So that's mainly the reason for me going back. I wish that somebody had been more aware or asking me questions like, is everything okay? Even at that moment, I don't necessarily know if I would have even told them. At the end of the day, it was my dad. That was who was supposed to protect me. So that is who should have asked me, is everything okay? Do you need anything? I need to make sure that my child is okay. So that at that moment, I felt like, who was I gonna ask that? Who was supposed to ask that? Who was I gonna say anything to but him? And for me to feel like I had to be protected from him, it's confusing for a child. It's super traumatizing. It's crazy going back. I felt like he was that dominant person. He was that protector. He was that father figure. He's the type of father figure that I feel like I want my kids to have. Because just to be so super traumatized from that and not understanding what love is supposed to be, the type of relationships you're supposed to have as a friend, as a family, as a person that you're in a relationship with, it kind of transpired from that to now where I don't have good father figures for my kids. I have two kids. I have two kids' fathers. I have three kids. Two of them got the same father. One of them got her own father, and neither one of them are good for my kids. And I feel like it came from that, me not understanding or knowing what I'm supposed to have, the type of love I'm supposed to have for myself or even for my kids. So I feel like the dominancy was gonna come from him. So when I do get emotional, I get emotional about me not being able to really have that person to go to as a person that I can get advice from, or that person that could, talk to me about what it is that I need, or if I'm okay, or make me feel comfortable when I am having a conversation with him. I still feel like he could have been that person. So that's where my emotions come from. I want to do a lot more with this. Like, I want to take it a lot more for younger females, even, older women, even women as adults now. Just I want to be a spokesman